Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about natal Venus inconjunct or quincunx to Chiron, and I'm super excited to do this video because I have this natal quincunx in my own birth chart, and you know how with our own placements we can be a little more narcissistic about it, constantly studying them. And even though I study all the aspects, I definitely feel like my natal aspects were the first things that I studied when I was learning astrology. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. And also, too, because aspects to Chiron are just usually not included in most astrology books. Like, I think the only place that I've seen this aspect talked about is in a book specifically about Chiron. So, even in my astrology books that contain the quincunx, which is a rare few, then they don't contain Chiron. So it's like there's just really not a lot of information about Chiron and about the quincunx out there. So, anyways, that's why I got to do these videos. So with this quincunx or with this inconjunction, it creates a real awkwardness with the Venus function. So from an early age, it's like we know that relationships, love, it can even translate to our self worth as well, and our feminine energy, right? We know that these are going to be issues for us. It's like there's this faded feeling of like, oh, I feel really awkward here, or I feel really even embarrassed, or like ashamed, or like I feel like relationships and relating with other people, not even just in the romantic sense, but Venus is also like our social function. Like, so just socially, there's even like a bit of an awkwardness with this in conjunction where it's like these people, you just don't quite know how to act around people, or it definitely takes a while before you can feel comfortable in your authentic expression. And so there can be kind of like even a weird like quirkiness socially, or there's just definitely a very interesting personality, which you on the inside, you might not feel like it like when you're still in the awkward phase, but like there's definitely something unique about the way that you express yourself socially. You're kind of like, yeah, you just don't really fit into any box socially or in your love life or as far as your self-worth goes, and the fluctuation that you will naturally have with your self-worth. So the book that I do have that mentions this quincunx, which like I said, I really feel like there's only one, so this is mostly just coming from experience, not books, but I always reference books because I love reading. You guys have seen my bookshelf, right? It's like, astrology books are just the best. She says, so it's Chiron by Barbara Handclough. She has many astrology books, but her book on Chiron is really good. She says that it's a lifetime of learning about love, and that's what we've signed up for with this quincunx, because the quincunx is this aspect of karma. It is this aspect of like needing to resolve the issue. And, it also, because of its awkwardness and the way that it's just hard to blend these two energies, it does end up creating a bit of like a researcher around the areas that are quincunx. So what will actually end up happening with this is that the quincunx here can really show like an obsessive kind of fascination with relationships and even a studying of humans. And that might first come from the kind of socially awkward, or feeling of like, not quite fitting in with people, or it's like, so Chiron, just in general, if you don't know, Chiron is the wound. Chiron shows where we have this deep woundedness, where we need healing, but where we can actually end up healing other people with it as well. So it's kind of like this pain point in our chart, right? And then Venus is, of course, love, the heart, femininity, giving and receiving, and self-worth and relationships, and how we go about doing those. So whenever we go to like use our Venus function in whichever way that we have it, whatever sign Venus is in, whatever house placement it's in, we feel this tinge of pain. And we don't quite know where this is coming from because the quincunx can be kind of unconscious at first, but we feel and we can have fears that, you know, um, love is pain, things aren't going to work out for us, we're going to get our heart broken. And there's definitely a feeling of like a karmic energy or like a karmic debt, or like we're going to meet with people from past lives, and we probably are because we're here to learn about relationships. So, whenever we go to love, whenever we go to offer our self love, whenever we go to just relate socially with the world, there's this tinge of like, this is going to be painful. And this, like, it can be even in the body, even like in the unconscious energy. It's like, oh, I'm in love, I'm going to get hurt, right? And so this is a belief that will have to be worked on and cleared in order for love relationships to end up being fulfilling. And like through trial and error and through some consciousness, we can realize what's happening. But before we realize that, it will be that maybe we do just actually attract situations and people that will bring us pain because of the belief that love is pain, or relating with other people is pain, or like this deep self-worth shame that like maybe I deserve pain, or maybe I'm not good enough to have a relationship that is real and that is um like straight up, like so here's another thing that can happen with this quincunx is that you end up in relationships where something is very unequal. So this can show up in, relationships that are secret affairs, like other quincunxes to Venus can end up having kind of affairs, situations where they're cheating or they're being cheated on, or there's just and sometimes with this in conjunction, you will be on both sides of these kind of karmic situations because you are learning about love, and that's how you learn. Now, not in every case, but in some cases you will see that, and that's where you end up gaining this like compassion for all. Like I see people from all walks of life in my astrology practice. I have clients who are on one side of cheating or the other side of cheating. I have like relationships, people sign up for synastry that are just crazy, out of the box. Like these are things people they can't tell anybody about, they've never told anybody about, and they come to me with these relationships and with these painful relationships or karmic situationships and things like that. And I'm just all ears. Like there is nothing that shocks me about relationships at this point. There's nothing that I'm afraid of or that I would shame you for, or like I'm just, yeah, I'm kind of like a neutral observer of relationships of all kinds because like I said, I've been in and out of many. I've had all types of relationships. I've witnessed all types of relationships in my studying of astrology, and yeah, that's just one example of what can kind of end up happening with here. Because, like I said, the quincunx aspect is kind of like the researcher, right? Like we become adept at studying people and studying love relationships, and why do they make people react in this way, and why do like these triggers, and we end up figuring out a lot about the nature of love and human nature, and the nature of maybe love at a higher level, like a soul level, and maybe the soul level, maybe the spiritual level, which is like the higher aspect of this Chiron expression. Maybe that's a part of why relationships are confusing like this, or why we end up in these kind of crazy karmic situations. So yeah, it's definitely an aspect that will show an incredible depth um, in love and coming from the heart. And also, there's a real connection to the heart, because it's been hard for us to truly love ourselves, and issues with other people. It creates this great sensitivity and, like I said, compassion, that I really do think people with this in conjunction are like a gentle soul, and obviously I'm speaking for myself as well, but like there's a real like gentleness and kind of like unassuming, or like not pushy energy when we have this quincunx. It's like and it can border on being too accepting, or too like boundaryless with people, because we are kind of learning how to relate with people, like how much boundary should we have versus like how open should we be, and like all of these things are lessons that we're learning. But usually, even when we do kind of get a strong sense of self-worth, and who we are and who we are in relationships, there's still a real gentleness and an understanding of the suffering of the human condition through the heart chakra, and what that entails. There also can be a real artistic impulse because of the pain of Chiron, right? Pain creates some of the best music, or some of the most influential art or music. And Venus, of course, is like also part of where art comes from, right? Venus, Neptune, and I would say Chiron, because Chiron is really that expression of human pain, and it is sort of a collective thing that we all go through pain on this planet. And when we have this in conjunction or this quincunx, we end up learning about pain in the realms of the heart and what that looks like for people. And yeah, there can be a strong artistic inclination with this if we have the self-worth to actually put our art out there, which can be something difficult. Like I said, there's that awkwardness with Venus, so it's like maybe you have all this art but you're afraid to share it with the world, or something like that. That could also be a part of this. So what else? Yeah, the self-worth part, physically, especially, I mean, with Venus or Chiron in the first house or in a more public place, you could see a physical block, like body dysmorphia, or like an obsession with the way we look. But see, it's all coming down to the same thing. It's all coming down to this relation with other people, and how are people seeing me? You could become obsessive about that, like how are you being perceived, when really like the ultimate healing for this. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, when you get nervous, focus on service. So when you have this quincunx with Chiron Venus, when you start to get self-conscious, when you start to feel awkward, when you start to feel like you're not good enough for a relationship or whatever, focus on service. And I mean, not that you want to be constantly like serving your partners in the relational sense, but you can focus on like grounding your energy into like a more healing place, where like the energy that you're projecting out will be like this healing frequency, if that makes sense. So like when you get nervous, when you feel awkward, just focus on, how can I serve? How can I help? And generally with this quincunx, you're going to be a service oriented person. You're going to be someone who, you want to help. You want your energy to be used for good. And so that's why relationships can sometimes look like, you're the servant. And so that's something to be aware of as well. Like, to create like balanced, healthy relationships, yeah, you need to realize that you are worthy of that. You're worthy of a real relationship where you're not servant or slave, but also they're not servant or slave to you. So that's something that can happen, is it's like you're either one or the other. It's like, no, what about we both just serve each other in equal ways, and we have like this real equal partnership? See, that's the thing. There's this real hang up around like equal partnership with this quincunx. Like, it's like relationships have to be some sort of like difficult dynamic here, right? All coming back to love is pain, right? But it doesn't have to be like that. You can actually have one of the most like pure unions of soul love, and you're always going to serve your partner, or you're always going to attract people like you want to attract someone who can serve you as well in a nice equal way. So you really are destined for like a true love bond with this quincunx, I believe, but it takes like a few experiences or sometimes many experiences to get to that place. And all of it, like all of the crazy relationship stuff that you've gone through or that you've witnessed, it's all been for a purpose. Like you are really here to understand these heart issues, understand these self-worth issues, these Venus issues. It's all been for good, but you do get to have real love that is soothing and that is healing for your soul. And you know, when you connect with your own soul, and like I said, you connect to like your true service mission on this planet, which will probably be something around heart energy or something to do with Venus, especially if Venus is a significant role in your chart or Chiron. When you connect with that and you connect with your healing mission, the love life stuff will sort itself out. The also the self-worth stuff won't be an issue because you're not thinking about yourself anymore. You're focused on your healing mission, and that's a way to really alleviate some of the pain and the awkwardness of this. So, what else? What else do I want to say about this? I guess that's what I'll say for now. And yeah, maybe there'll be part 2 on this aspect, even though this is already really long. But I feel like I missed things that I wanted to say about it too. But I'd love to know your experience of this quincunx. I actually in transit right now. So Venus just went into Aries today. Perfect. My Venus is in Aries. And my Venus in Aries is in my first house. And it's quincunx to my Chiron in my 6th house in Virgo. And right now I have by transit Chiron is in Aries conjunct my Venus, like exact, like in the next week. And this is the last hit. It's hit it quite a few times, maybe 4 times or 5, I don't know. And then also I have Chiron quincunx to Chiron right now in transit, which is interesting. So it's definitely being activated, the awareness of this quincunx. So yeah, I really wanted to talk about this aspect. I also know some of the other Venus Chiron aspects are on request, so I'll get to those someday too. And yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. Love you guys. Thanks for your requests, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.